Hallelujah. Let me do a split screen for you so you guys can be all on board with us today. Shalom, Adrian. Shabbat shalom. Well, bang. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Today is the day that Yah has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. We say yesterday was the day he made. Every day is the day he made, but today is the day us to find our rest and to commune with him. So I'm grateful for yet another day's mine. I knew there was one of these I had out there had the plastic on it. Did you move it? Okay. It's not down here.
I used it this morning.
This morning. Israel, Yahweh, Yechezk'el, Yahweh is Akkad, Yahweh, Akkad. Must have said something wrong. Got it straightened out. So today we're going to find out who up more more about this kingdom living. People talk about, oh, I'm kingdom living, but you don't address the king appropriately. All right, so what do they call these people in Great Britain? They have a certain way of addressing royalty. And if you step out of line, you act towards the king appropriate, or queen in this case, you may find yourself arrested. Today, this week, our president went to see the Pope. And you know what they do when they see the Pope? Everybody kisses the ring. I haven't seen pictures of him kissing the ring, but sure enough, he not only do they kiss the ring, they bow to him and bow to his authority. And they treat him with respect. They don't, as they do with our king, and show very little respect towards our king in the way that. So we call him by his name, we honor him, and we respect his authority. And we keep the commandments according to the best of our ability. And yeah, do we fall short? Everybody falls short. Actually, Solomon said that if you're dedicating the temple, he says, all of us have fallen short. Have a sinful nature that we have learned to put down and operate in the spirit realm. So we don't walk around doing any old thing, because there's certain things that the spirit will not allow us to do, even if you had once had an inkling for doing it. What did I do? Okay, sorry. So what we're going to do now is talk more about the kingdom. We're going to go back into our text from last week, and the when we read through the text, I want you to realize that there's a certain people, and we can identify those people to be in our people, being us, that we are those people. And you're going to see the same scenario that's occurring, the same, and I entitled this Schisms in the Kingdom. So I was reading today in the book of Acts, and I was at chapter 15, and Shaul was having arguments with people, and actually near the end, him and one of his partners, what's his name? They split for ways. Barnabas, him and Barnabas split, and they went their separate ways. There was schisms in the kingdom, and that has nothing to do with that's to talk about today. But I'll just let you know that and this happened somewhere maybe a few years, I don't want to put an exact number, a few years after Messiah had departed, and already less than 20 years, and already we had schisms. So when one person says one thing and another person says another thing, and then now is because they want to, are you a vaccinated or non-vaccinated? I just threw that out there. But the schisms separate us, and sometimes it brings hurt to the kingdom, because instead of unifying us and causing us, I say Yahuwah Eloheka, Yahuwah is Akkad, one, and he expects us to be one. But I know the nature, and I talked about all of us are sinners because we all have these natures, and in our natures, we end up finding ways to separate instead of unite. And so we'll get into this a little bit more, but that's my underlying thought during today's message, that there is schisms in the kingdom, and the schisms in the kingdom actually are one of the things that validate us for being the people, because we've always had schisms. And if I could take you through the book and show you schisms from day one, not day one, but very early in our walk as a people. And so I'm going to show you today, Yah willing, we're going to take a walk, and we're going to see Israel and the caring of the people in Israel by the leaders. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I don't think that there's a lot of people, no, there are a few people that bring up schisms, and not to unify the people, but to separate us, or to cause some type of and so then I look at them thinking, do you really care about what is going on, or you just want to make a point? You want to make your own point. So as a teacher, as a person, I am concerned about Yah's people, and trying to help them to come together, and not that I've seen that I would, I want to share my opinion. But sharing my opinion may cause more of the fracture. So I'm careful because of the fracture. Everyone knows what a fracture is. Has anyone ever had an incident where they broke something? Maybe a limb? When you try to repair it, you're cautious. The doctor will tell you if you broke your foot, we can't do a lot with it. We'll put a boot on it, but proceed with caution. Walk carefully. Be ginger about the way you handle on your extremities. More likely, they'll put some type of a cast on you, and they'll tell you, okay, let it rest. Okay, so putting that all together, when you see things happen and you feel like this is not good, be cautious not to cause the fracture to become a break. Because a fracture is a fracture. It's still there, it's still connected. It's not a complete break. And you don't want something that's going to cause a break when we get into our text. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Shalom. Shalom. And Shabbat Shalom. Hallelujah. It's time to set apart. Twice? This thing gonna break sooner or later. Let's move it over here. Out of the way. Turn to Psalms, please. I'll use that. I'll use everyone. Turn to Psalms. I want to say, I had it in front of me. Don't go. Telahim 60. I'm back to sleeping in my bed. A little bit more. Okay. Benjamin, you ready? 60, please. Okay, that's not working. O Elohim, you have cast us off. You have scattered us. You have been displeased. Oh, turn yourself to us again. You have made the earth to tremble. You have broken it. Heal the branches thereof. for it shakes. You have showed your people hard things. You have made us to drink the wine of a banner to them that fear you, that it may be displayed because of the truth. Selah. You have saved with your right hand, and hear me. Elohim has spoken in his holiness. I will rejoice. I will delight. Shechem? I will divide Shechem and smite out the valley of Sukkot. Galad is mine, and Manasseh is mine. Ephraim is also is the strength of my head. Yahudim, Moab is my washpot. Over Edom will I cast. What's this here? Philistine? Triumph you because of me. Who will bring me into the strong city? Who will lead me into Eden? You, O Elohim, which did not go out with our enemies, our armies? Give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of men. Through Elohim, we shall do violently. Violent. I can't get it out. For he it is that shall tread down our enemies. So he without you. And we were reading last week or the week before, and they went out and they didn't have the Ruach. And they were like, that's why we in trouble. We went and got the ark, but the ark didn't help us because the Ruach had left. And so here he's speaking to Elohim and asking him to be with us, to now go before us, drive out our enemies. All right, let's go back to where we were at last week. Come out of your mouth. And the technical difficulties. Matt and Yahoo, where were we at last week? 24? Mm-hmm. And we stopped at You're doing it again, Benjamin. I can't hear you, but I can see you. Psalm 60. All right. Okay, we'll read. Start at verse 4. And we're going to backtrack a little bit. Can he read? Can't hear you. How about you try, Adrian? Speak to me. Let me see if it's. Unmute yourself. Just say hi. Same thing.
Is it your?
You think it's me?
I don't know.
The only thing that I can consider doing is moving closer to I have no idea what's going on.
Matthew 24:40.
Yes. Okay, so we just read out of Psalm 60. And now we're going on Matthew's, and we're going to start at 24, chapter 24 and verse 4. We read through this last week, Thursday actually, and we ended at verse 13. Go ahead, you got it written down, so now we're going to go.
Okay.
And Yeshua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Messiah, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And all these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
Okay, so I wanted to come back to here because there was something that I realized that we didn't really address last week. He says, nations will rise against nations. Or on third, what was it? The night that we talked. He said, nations will rise against that, or the melanated skin, or whatever you want to call us today, the blacks, that we would be rising up against ourselves. Nations will rise against the nations. There's something going on that ought not to be happening. There ought to be a unity among us, not a schism amongst us. That's their job. So the criteria of the heathen should not be ours. So I wake up this morning and I hear this girl screaming. The cops didn't pull a gun out on me. This black guy did. They all went on. It's not the we should be concerned when we are shooting each other, when we mistreating our own women, when we're the ones pulling the guns out on each other. But we'll pull the gun out on each other. Little thing, your little scrimmage that you're working on, a little thing that's one thing. But now you're attacking us and you're attacking our women. The kingdoms should rise against each other. But Israel, we're not supposed to be fighting each other. And we find it, and we won't attack anybody else. Nation will rise against nation. And so the thing that I said that we didn't speak on last week was, who is he talking to? Always got to keep going back to who, what, when, and where. So privately, this is not an open format for the world. Privately, the Telahim, his discussion with them, I often got to look back and say, like, okay, is this for the world? Is this for us? This conversation was an in-house conversation. It's also for those that were to read it, that were inside. Like this is a secret password, only given to his people. So his people that would read it would be like, okay, I expect this, and you're going to see why I said it for those that read it. Verse.
Betray one another and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because the transgression of the Torah shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
Okay, so because of the transgression of the Torah, the love of man will not live right. What is this? This thing that Yah says if you don't have about all of these, and I'm just going to name one little. Last week I said my town, Jericho. I'm just going to name Jericho. All of the churches in Jericho. The heart of Jericho, New Jersey, is only but, I'll do it in the end of their main street to the other end, maybe a little bit more than that, but it's not very long. I'm 60 and I can run from one end to the other. I witnessed the churches and their demeanor they didn't like them. They didn't love them. They didn't even like them. So when I came into Christianity, I joined a Pentecostal church. And later on, I left and went and joined the Baptist church on the same block, the same, within distance, like you could see the one from the other. And at one time, I remember I was singing on the male chorus, and I remember having the male chorus come from the Baptist church to the Pentecostal church. But I saw the images and I heard the voices of those like, why would you go down there? They do this, they do that. And it was like, I was naive and I thought all of us are supposed to be one in Christ. I mean, that's what they said while you were inside. They're supposed to be in Christ. And they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm counting 5 different churches. And each one only focused on their people inside, came ostracized and criticized because you were no longer part of them. And when I remember leaving Jericho and worshiping somewhere else, and the people that I was with, I thought they loved me and I cared about them. Sister so-and-so or nothing. Was like, you were done. You go down there and worship and we don't need to know you or see you. And I lived on the same street. I literally lived on the same avenue. And so to see that is like, they didn't know what kingdom was. Okay. So we as the people should be so concerned about the fracture that is occurring all around us. But this is what Yah says what would happen. False prophets shall rise, and into prophets. Trust me, every one of those churches has a prophet. Either the prophet is in the pulpit or there's a prophet in the I have a problem. If they're all prophets and they're all together and they're black people and we're Jews, or I mean we're whatever, Spanish. Because I can see that you got the Spanish people got their own little worship because they speak it in their tongue, and it's a little hard for us to understand. But all these people all talk alike, but we all don't dress alike and we all don't walk alike. All right, so here we go. So many false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many. But because of the transgression of the Torah, all of them had the one common thread. The common thread The law's done away with. We don't have to keep the law. We don't have to. I'm like, oh, okay. And we all worship on Sunday. And we don't care. Some of us got white, excuse me. Some of us got Jesus on the wall. And so that's my past. But I'm seeing this even in the present. Okay, so the false prophets rise up, deceiving many. There's people out here today prophesying and saying, I'm a prophet. And I'm going to tell you, don't listen to that person because they're teaching witchcraft and blah, blah, blah. And many false prophets shall come and deceive many. And you know what? You can see some people, because a prophet, when claiming to be a prophet, and I can't say that they're not a prophet because Yah says there's going to be a lot of false prophets. So false prophets are classified as prophets. Verse 13.
But he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. Okay,
so now we're going to stop, pause. We always got to do our little Hebrew word. I looked at this, I'm like, where's this come from? But he that endures until the end shall be saved. So I looked up the word endure. What does that mean? What does that mean to us? Say if someone else says no, the Bible says you got to endure to the end. So what does this mean, endure? Word study on the word endure. I need to make you a host.
Yeah, and we'll bring that if you want me to bring it. I don't know how that one.
Let's see what happens here. Yeah, so now you're a host. So what does it mean to endure?
Okay, so I'm just going to go down this sheet and just kind of read off the Hebrew meaning of the word endure. The transliteration in the Hebrew of the word is yashab. And it's spelled Yod Shin Bet.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Which is the modern, so they can see it because they're looking at it.
Okay. The modern is Yod Shin Bet, and the Hebrew, the Paleo, still the same letters, just pictures instead of the Hebrew letters. The context that we're looking at it in is Matthew 24:13, and it also has a good description of the word in Psalms 9:7. So we can read that real quick, so we can take it back to the Tanakh. Psalms 9:7. Did you get it yet?
See if Benjamin can read. See if he's got his thing cleared up a little bit.
Oh, okay. Benjamin, can you read Psalms 9:7 for us?
Can you hear me?
Oh, better.
Yes,
Much better.
very good. Yeah.
Okay, I have to pull it the page back up.
Okay.
It's Psalms 9, right?
Yes, verse 7.
Okay, I can read it.
Okay.
All right, Psalms chapter 9, verse 7. But Yah shall endure forever. He has prepared his throne for judgment. He shall judge the world in righteousness, and he shall administer judgment for the peoples in uprightness. Yah will also be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in the times of trouble.
Okay, that's good.
And those,
We just wanted to give
Oh, that's good.
some meaning to that, to the word that we're studying, Yeshab, which is endure. So the definition of the word is to sit, remain, and dwell. Is the Hebrew meaning of the word Yeshab. And so the three, when we look at those three letters, the Yod, it's the hand, the arm, reach, work, throw, worship, and deed. Shin is the two front teeth, and it means to sharp, press, eat, consume, destroy. And Bet, of course, is the tent, the house in family room. So if you put those three letters together in the context that we're looking at them in, it basically means working to overcome the factors or situations trying to destroy or consume you as you're trying to remain in the house or family of Yah. So that is a description of the Hebrew working definition of the word endure or Yeshab. The first mention of that word is in Genesis 33:14. If you want to go there, and Benjamin, you can read that for us. Just that one verse, Genesis 33:14.
you said Psalms chapter 9, verse 14, or Genesis 33:14.
Genesis 33:14.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
All right, Genesis chapter 33, verse 14.
Right.
Please let my Elohim go on ahead before his servant. I will lead on slowly at pace, which that the livestock that go before me and the children are able to endure, until I come to my Elohim and Sir.
Okay. So the word endure is there again. And this is actually Yaakov talking to his brother Esau, and asked when they were coming to meet together, he's asking him to let them go slower because of the children and the animals, so that they could endure the travel that they would have to do to get to their end destination.
And we're going to come back to that verse as soon as Ema's done. We're going to come back and read through that storyline, so we'll get a better feel of what's going on there. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So the key verses for this study today are Matthew 24:13, which we just read, and then Romans 10. And I just wanted to give you the root word of Yeshab, and the root word is Yod Shin, which would be Yeshep, and it means to exist. Would be the root of that word. So that's the basic definition and etymology of the word endure or Yeshab.
Okay, now remove your screen there, please. Okay, good. I guess I'm host again, right? Okay, good. So here we go. Because of okay, so right, you guys still see me? You see me? Ed?
Yes.
Okay, the big screen. Good. All right. So I said that we as a people should be cautious because of this. We're creating schisms, and the schisms are causing fractions, and the fractions are causing people to sometimes break away. Of what Yah is asking us to do, He's asking us to endure, and so you want to endure. How are you going to endure? And people are saying things that are causing you to question your walk. But you shouldn't bring in the questions out that are causing people to, you know, if you bring a question, put it this way. If you bring a question, bring an answer. Because if you bring a question, it is causing the schisms. But this is our people. So we had a situation in Israel when two brothers fractured, broke away from each other. And then when they came back, I want my people to survive our communication. We don't want to go to war. We don't want to do anything to harm each other. We want unity. So the two brothers, Esau and Jacob, they came together. They did not come to fight. They came for unity. They didn't come for a debate. They didn't come for between. I need my people to survive and not to be separated from us. So let's go. Bereshit. Since that's where the word originated, let's get a better, maybe perhaps in the next few minutes, we'll get a better reading, Bereshit 32. 32. We'll get a better reading of what is Yaakov was going by his way, minding his business, and the angel of, and you know some of this story, the angel of Elohim met him, and the two had a fight. But
Or Jacob went on his way, and the angels of Elohim met him. And when Yaakov saw them, he said, "This is Elohim's host." And he called the name of that place Mechananim.
okay, so homeboy's walking, minding his business, and he saw, you know, we always hang out in groups. He saw a group of angels, not just one. He saw a group of them. He's like, all right, let's go.
And Yaakov sent messengers to Esau his brother into the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, "Thus shall you speak unto my Adonai Esau. You're stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses, flocks, and men servants and women servants, and I have sent to tell my Adonai that I may find grace in your sight."
Okay, so he's trying to make peace with his brother. And he went, found this beautiful woman, and before you know it, he's there 14 years trying to win her over because this Lavan, was it how you pronounce his name? Lavan gave him an offer, and then he changed up, so he ended up coming out with 2 wives, but he got the one he wanted. Now he's ready to go back to visit his brother. Trying to paint a story here. He's been very prosperous. Verse 6.
And the messengers returned to Yechezk'el, saying, we came to your brother Esau, and also he comes to meet you, and 400 men. He divided the people that was with him, and the flocks, and the herds, and the camels into 2 bands, and said, if Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape. And Yechezk'el said, O Elohai of my father Avraham, country, and to your kindred, and I will what you have showed unto your servant. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become 2 bands.
So he knows that when he's gotten word from Yah, time to go back home, he knows that his brother left. And the last time I heard, his brother's like, the next time I see you, I'm probably going to kill you. And so they didn't leave on good terms. He's going to deal favorably with me. Who do you fear? Side note. Who do you fear? Do you fear man or Yah? If Yah says, I'll take care of you, and man says, I'm going to kill you, who do you fear? Because Yah corrects and directs even the heart of the king. So even when things may not look so smoothly, follow your directions, whatever directions Yah gives you. So his directions were to go back home, even though he knew that on the way back, and he sent out, he wasn't like messengers out and tell them what to say to my brother. So when they see him, this is how I would like for them to address him, so that he won't be offended. Don't let anything I say or do, or that we say or do, be the offense. Let's pan it out and see what happens.
Verse 11, deliver me, I pray you, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me. Make your seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother. 200 she-goats and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milch camels with their colts, 40 kine and 10 bulls, 20 she-asses and 10 foals. And he delivered them into the hand of his servants, every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, pass over before me, and put a space betwixt drove and drove. And he commanded the foremost, saying, when Esau my brother meets you, and asks you, saying, who are you, or whose are you, and where do you go, and whose are these before you? Then you shall say, they be your servant Yaakov's. It is a present sent unto my Adonai Esau, and behold, also he is behind us. And so commanded he the second and the third, and all that followed the drove, saying, on this manner shall you speak unto Esau when you find him. And I will appease him with the present that goes before me, and afterward I will see his face. Perchance he will accept of me. So went the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company. And he rose up that night and took his 2 women and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Yabok. And he took them and said,
all this happened, right? Meanwhile, don't forget about the angels. All this is stuff that he had already set up. He's like, then this is what happened, and such has happened. You see this in the movies, right? Things that happened before this particular incident, and now you're back to the incident. Okay, so now we're back to the incident. He done set everything up so that if any of his people ran into his brother, that they would give him a peace offering. Hopefully that appeases him, and so when they do meet, that it is not fisticuffs. Okay, so now
verse
24.
And Yaakov was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Yaakov's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said unto him, What is your name? And he said, Yaakov. And he said, Your name shall be called no more Yaakov, but Yisra'el. For
The birth of the name that we call ourselves Israel from a wrestling match. All the angels disappeared but one, and one stayed and gave him a wrestling match that occurred all night long. You know, if you ever seen anybody wrestle, when you look at a wrestling match, they only occur maybe 3 minutes, I think, and they recuperate and they go back, and it's usually three rounds until it's done, and then it's over. So you're figuring maybe 9 minutes, and I may be off with my math, but it's a short period of time. No one's wrestling all night long. This guy wrestling, I'm not letting go until you bless me. Why did he have to let go when the day broke? There was something that the angel would have to do. Okay, that's for you to study. But there's something that the angel would have to do. He have to leave Yaakov. All right, let's go. That's something for you to study.
verse 29. And Yaakov asked him and said, Tell me, I pray you, your name. And he said, Wherefore is it that you do ask after my name? And he blessed them there. And Yaakov called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen Elohim face to face, and my life is preserved. And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Yisra'el eat not the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh unto day, because he touched the hollow of Yaakov's thigh in the sinew that shrank.
So there we realize that the diet. So at one time when we first were in the garden, we only ate vegetables, fruit, and maybe later on it was expanded to eat more of the vine. But at this appointed time, they were eating meat. And I know that when you come into the kingdom, we will not be eating meat again. But at this particular time, they were eating meat. And he says, but they would not eat a certain part of the meat because of this.
And Yaakov lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children unto Leah and unto Rachel and unto the two handmaids.
Okay, so he took his two handmaids, which some people would read as concubines, and he took his other two women, Leah and Rachel, the two that he worked for 7 years for the one and 7 years for the other. Actually, it's 14 years for Rachel, but he gave him the other daughter first, right? So he separated into 4 squads. And it's funny how in this particular case, he separated his women, and the women were leading their assemblies or their flocks, according to what we see here. So each one was given hundreds of people to follow. Man, I ain't following you because you're just a woman. No, that was not played out in this walk, right? And so here they have separated into 4 units. Verse 2.
And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel, and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the children and said, Who are those with you? And he said, The children which Elohim has graciously given your servant. And the handmaidens came near, they and their children, and they bowed themselves. And Leah also with her children came near and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph near and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said, what do you mean by all this drove which I met? And he said, these are to find grace in the sight of my Adonai.
Now, I want you to paint this picture. You have the leader of Israel and his children. And the leader of Israel is always concerned for his children. If you are a true leader, you're concerned with the women, you're concerned with the kids, you're concerned with the whole flock. And so this Israel himself shows the compassion of the children. Yahushua, the king, says, come to me as little children. He looks at us and he has, it says it in the book, he says he looked and he was moved with compassion. He was concerned that what he was saying was not going to draw people away, but draw them closer to the Father. So if you have a beef with Israel, you need to find a way to make it right, because Yah is concerned about, he's not concerned about you. He's concerned about Israel. So if you're only concerned about, I got this, it's all about you. That's why you keep saying, you keep saying I, because it's all about you. He knew that walking in this walk to see his brother could have cost him his life. But his main objective wasn't to save his life, but to save his people. He that endures until the end shall be saved, shall be delivered, shall be found in a resting place with Yah. And Esau said, I have enough.
Verse 9, and Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep that you have unto yourself. And Jacob said, nay, I pray you, if now I have found grace in your sight, then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen your face as though I had seen the face of Elohim, and you were pleased with me. Take, I pray you, my blessing that is brought to you, because Elohim has dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. And he said, take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before you. And he said unto him, my Adonai knows that the children are tender, and the flocks and herds with young are with me. And if men should overdrive them one day, all the flock will die.
Okay, so I'm telling you, he's concerned about his people. Yah wants you to grow as a people. Yah wants you to develop. But when you come to truth, Yah's not trying to destroy you. He's trying to develop you, and he wants you to walk in. Yah loves you more than you love yourself. More than you say you love Israel. I know this hard word. Some people don't want to hear it because they got so much blood on their hands that all they can think of is blood. Yah is concerned about Israel. Israel should be concerned, just like Israel here. Israel should be concerned about Israel, concerned about the children. Are you driving them too hard? Are you trying to lead them astray? Are you trying to destroy them, or are you trying to build them up? Are you looking at them as your children, or Yah's children, or are you looking at them as other church members? I don't understand it. Where are we at?
14.
Here's the key verse.
Let my Adonai, I pray you, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly, according as the cattle that goes before me, and let the children be able to endure, until I come unto Adonai, unto Seir. And Esau said, let me now lead with you some of the folk that are with me. And he said, what needs it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Adonai. So Esau returned that day on his way to Seir. And Yaakov journeyed to Sukkot and built him a house and made Sukkot for his cattle. Therefore, the name of the place is called Sukkot.
You know, we just came out of Sukkot. I thought that was appropriate. What are you saying?
Nothing, I was just reading.
And so he's building Sukkots. We just came out of building Sukkots, living in temporary housing. Now, if you read through the Apocrypha, you're going to read through some of the books and you're going to realize that Esau he knew that Israel knew Esau, and he was careful not to let Esau trick him, because it wouldn't have been the first time. And he knew better than to just allow him to go and not receive the gift. That's why he was like, he forced the issue. No, take the gift, take the gift. He knew his brother. We ought to know our brothers. Just like a husband is to know his wife, we ought to know our brothers. And when we do know our brothers, sometimes we're like, I knew it. I saw that coming. I knew that was coming. I saw that before I knew that was coming because I know my brother. You ought to know your brothers, because that's what's going to help you to make this walk more palatable. Because sometimes some things some people are saying, it's kind of like you ready to blow a fuse, but you ought to know your brother. And so he built Sukkot. He called it Sukkot, verse 18.
And Yaakov came to Shalem, a city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padam Aram, and pitched his tent before the city. And he bought a parcel of a field where he had spread his tent at the hand of the children of Tamar, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. And he erected there an altar and called it El Elohai Yisra'el.
Now you have homework. Your second assignment is to read Bereshit 34, because Bereshit 34 talks about the blood being shed because these people decided to have sex with one of Israel. But I'm going to jump over that because of the due time. I'm going to go to 35, and we're going to pick back up at 35. So your homework is read 34. 35, verse 1. And we only got 12, couple verses here. And
Elohim said unto Yaakov, Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto Elohim, that appeared unto you when you fled from the face of Esau your brother. Yaakov said unto his household, and to all that were with him, Put away the strange Elohai that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments.
Last week we talked about this. The glory, the garments, the whatever you're wearing. These people that our people got a problem. So he says, first, put away your strange gods, your strange. Where's that at? I just read it. Your strange Elohims. Get rid of them. So if you are striving to be Israel, you have to go back to square one, point one. Get rid of the strange gods, the strange Elohims, the strange images. You got to get rid of it, and then you got to change your garment. What does that mean? Change the false representation of who you are that you've been placing on over top of yourself every Sunday, whenever Shabbat. Remove that thing that makes people see you as what you're not. Clean your act up. All right, so change your garments. Verse 3.
And let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto Elohim, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. And they gave unto Yaakov all the strange Elohi which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears, and Yaakov hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. And they journeyed, and the terror of Elohim was upon the cities that were round about them.
You know the question that came to me when I read this, right? It says they had strange gods in their hand. Did they pick them up and put them in their hands? Or were they or were they something that they had in their hands, like Masonic rings? Was it something that they held on to? Because it didn't say that they came and they hand over all of their Elohims and it was over. It also said in the ear, their rings that were in their ears. Something for you to think about.
Verse 6. So Yaakov came to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar and called the place El Bethel, because there Elohim appeared unto him when he fled from the face of his brother. But Deborah, Rechab's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath El Bethel under an oak. And the name of it was called Alon Barak. And Elohim appeared unto Yaakov again when he came out of Padam Aram and blessed him. And Elohim said unto him, your name is Yaakov. Your name shall not be called Yaakov anymore, but Yisra'el shall be your name. And he called his name Yisra'el. And Elohim said unto him, I am El Shaddai. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of you, and kings shall come out of your loins. And the land which I gave Abraham and Yitzhak, to you I will give it, and to your seed after you will I give the land. And Elohim went up from him in the place where he talked with him. And Yaakov set up a pillar in the place where he talked with him, even a pillar of stone. And he poured a drink offering thereon, and he poured oil thereon. And Yaakov called the name of the place where Elohim spoke with him, Bethel. And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come to Ephrathah, and Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. And it came to pass when she was in hard labor that the midwife said unto her, fear not, you shall have this son also. And it came to pass as her soul was departing, for she died, that she called his name Ben-Oni, but his father called him Benjamin. And Rachel died and was buried in the way to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem.
So you see, and I just want to bring this to your attention. Do you see the heart that the father had towards Benjamin and why he was such a special child? He was the last child, but his wife, who he loved so dearly, departed, bringing him into this world. So when Benjamin, the baby, he was a special one for him. And he was always close to Israel. Even today, the Benjamites are always right next to Yehuda. They're always somewhere close to us, and they're our favorite cousins. Hallelujah. So you saw that once again, Yahushua speaks to him and tells him, your name is not Yaakov. Do you think, because, okay, I'm living this thing now where I have my birth name and my name that you know me as, and because I have to deal with the world and I have not physically changed it in their system, I am called by both names. But so was this going on with Benjamin? Was he traveling two worlds? Was these people still calling him? No, I know you as Jacob, Yaakov. You've been Yaakov. You were born Yaakov. You're gonna die Yaakov. And he says, no, you're not that anymore. You are. And he confirms his name twice. All right, let's finish this. He builds an altar for him, an altar, and put a statue or a stone to represent what was going on. We would use markers just to identify certain things in certain places, not statues.
Verse 20, and Yaakov set a pillar upon her grave. That is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day. And Yisra'el journeyed and spread his tent beyond Migdal Eder. And it came to pass when Yisra'el dwelt in that land that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Yisra'el heard it. Now the sons of Yaakov were 12. The sons of Leah, Reuben, Yaakov's firstborn, and Shimon, and Levi, and Yehuda, and Yissakhar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Yaakov, which were born to him in Padanaram. And Yaakov came unto Yitzhak, his father, unto Mamre, unto Kiryat Arba, which is Chevron, where Abraham and Yitzhak sojourned. And the days of Yitzhak were 180 years. And Yitzhak gave up his ruach and died, and was gathered unto his people, being old and full of days. And his sons Esau and Yaakov buried him.
So that's the story of our patriarch. And we went through the patriarch, this story, because I want you to see that in the midst of the schisms, in the midst of the fractures, even the fracture that he had with his brother, that he was concerned for Israel. And the people in the book, and all the way into the New Testament, it says that that this stuff is going to happen, but Yah is concerned for you, and that's why he says if you do right, you live right, and you practice this art of enduring. I'm gonna call it the art of enduring, as I used to run. And when you would run long distance, you feel a urge in you to stop, give it a break. I'll pick it back. And if you ever did stop, you would see the people in front of you look like they're running faster. They're not running faster, but they're running the same speed because you've slowed down and you've learned to, you had a bad practice that day. And then you would come back and you would practice again. And now you're learning to try to stay pace with them. And as long as you keep pace, you will make it to the end. A wise leader will take you to as far as he can and maybe slow down and come back with you and help you to get it to endure, learn to make it all the way through. So endure the friction, endure the fractions, and at the end, there's a term that's found in the book. You shall be saved. You shall be saved. And I'm going to put this as my closing remarks. You are going to be saved emotionally. You're going to be saved physically. And you're going to be saved spiritually. But those that grab that are only the ones that have mastered the art of enduring. Don't pay attention to the friction. Don't pay attention to that. Don't let the friction trouble you. Earlier in the Yahoo 24, it said there will be sorrow, there will be times that will happen. He said, but don't let it trouble you. Don't let any of this trouble you. Stay on course and stay in the bet. Stay in the house. Don't let anything distract you. So you say, oh, all this stuff is going on. I don't know if I want to. And no, stay calm and stay in the house. Study to show yourself approved and walk righteous before our Maker. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai. Praise Yah. Short message, short and sweet. But this is part of us as the kingdom. As we go back and more about us being in the kingdom, carrying. We're going to pick up the same text, and we're going to watch as we go through 24 and 25 of Mount Yahoo. We're going to start looking more at the kingdom, because the kingdom's got to be taught. It's got to be preached to all the nations, not just the storyline of what you find in the New Testament, the storyline of Israel. The storyline of Israel must be taught throughout the entire world. And only few people will be able to teach it, and they be the ones of Israel. Hallelujah. 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 Thank you for joining the Ark of the Covenant Assembly. Come back and join us next week. We'll be back, Yah willing, at 2:00. We'll be getting back into our, continuing our talk about the kingdom. You know how to support us, first through prayer, correspondence. You can email us, even seeing people saying Shabbat Shalom, Ms. Paka, and messages on the side over here on the chat are encouragement. And then you can support us financially if you see fit by sending things into us through PayPal. And if you're interested in of us continuing, then my voice is leaving. Then hallelujah, and we'll continue to bless you and pray for you. And may the Ruach shine upon you. May his face smile on you, and may he continually bring you shalom in your life, peace, comfort, and success in whatever your venture is. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.